Now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you win in your business dealings. And we talk about 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Over 50 show partners here, and we all want to help you win in any marketplace. That is the goal of our show.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
We want you to save our hotline number just in case you need something. We'd love for you to call us up. Shoot us a text message at 813-670-7372. Our consumer advocate hotline number, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Bookmark our website, consumerqb.com, as well. A plethora of information available for you on our website. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we vetted, and we bring on the show to help you win in any marketplace, as we say. So welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. Big shout out to the Golf Cart Depot. I want to give a sponsor a shout out here, golfcartdepot.com. New and used golf carts, huge inventory available, personal use or commercial use. Reach out to Marty. He's the owner of Golf Cart Depot. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Location right off of 41 in Land O'Lakes, also in Clearwater off of US 19, right there in Clearwater on the east side of US 19. Golf Cart Depot, friends of the program here, support Golf Cart Depot. They've got Easy Go, Star, City Car, and other types of Cushman golf carts is available right here in Tampa Bay. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Gregg Bowman in the house, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks, Brandon. It's great to be here.
And we talk a lot about air quality and that indoor air quality here when we have you in studio.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't associate with their air conditioner, but your air conditioner can do a lot and can have a lot of an impact on the air that you're breathing in your home. So, yeah, it's something that you need to look at along with the fact that it just heats and cools.
And that affects your health. You know, it's one of those things that will definitely affect your health.
Most definitely, yeah. There's a lot of things going on recently, in our culture with indoor air quality. The EPA has stated that the air in our homes is up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside of our homes. So it definitely has an impact, and a lot going on with that. We actually just completed a job. I think we talked about it the last time I was on the show, a woman who was diagnosed with mold in her blood. And that was related to the air in her home, which was ultimately traced back to a mold in the attic. But it was being brought in through a leaky duct system into the home and creating that issue. We actually just ended up removing all the ductwork. All the insulation was removed from the attic. The attic was sterilized. We re-put the new ducts back in, and then insulation's probably going in right now. We just literally just completed that job. But there's some crazy things that can happen from poor indoor air quality.
Mold in the blood, poor air quality indoors. Wow. Gregg Bowman, the AC guy in studio. We also have Mayor George Cretekos, Clearwater Mayor George Cretekos on the phones. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Brandon. Good to be back with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's been my pleasure to interview you over the years, over the last 5 to 6 years, I think, since you've been on the show, and it's always a pleasure. And I guess you had mentioned that your term is expiring on March 17th.
March 17th, we're going to have, in addition to the presidential primary, we're going to have elections here in the city of Clearwater for the mayor's position and also for 2 city council seats.
Very cool. Very cool. And we were talking as well, and I think we should maybe just elaborate to folks that the mayor and city races, a lot of the races are nonpartisan. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Nonpartisan means that you don't identify yourself as a Republican or a Democrat. Most of the races in the cities and local government are that way. Even here in the Tampa Bay area, while Mayor Castor and Mayor Kreisman are Democrats, For example, both of them run on a nonpartisan basis. Personally, I think that's better because, if you have a pothole that needs to be fixed or your garbage needs to be picked up, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. That's a job that the city needs to do regardless of party affiliation. If you need police service, fire service, we're not going to call and ask if you're a Republican or a Democrat to see who comes first. It just doesn't make any sense. And, it keeps us out of some of these state and national issues that probably divide the country as much as unite.
So polarizing, the latest stuff happening. It's unbelievable. What's your state of how would you address this state of polarization that we have in the national politics?
It's very unfortunate. I was in Washington during the Nixon era. I was working for Congressman Young during the Bill Clinton era, and so here is a third example, and this one has been the most polarizing, and it just divides the country. It keeps us from doing the job that elected officials, whether they're in Washington or Tallahassee or here in Clearwater, have been tasked to do.
Right.
And it's not good for the country.
I agree. Yeah, you see the billions of dollars, and it's only within the last 10 to 15 years we've been using the billion word. A lot of times it was millions back when I was growing up, I remember, but now we're using billions, and it's like, wow, we're spending all this money to investigate this person and this person, and it's just like, man, that could have eradicated homelessness in the United States, or some pick a positive, right?
See, when you're older, as old as I am, we don't even remember the millions. We remember back to Everett Dirksen, who was the minority leader at the time of the United States Senate from Illinois, and he used to say, 100,000 here, 100,000 there. It was like petty cash in D.C. And now, you're right, Brandon. We're not talking about millions or billions. I think I just saw a report that our national debt is over $1 trillion now. I lose sight of that. I was with some students at St. Paul's School the other day, and I was kidding with them. I said, how would you like to have $1 million? And they got all excited. Okay, Mr. Mayor. I said, well, I want you to spend it, at $1 a second. And how long would you be gone? And, they said, 1 million seconds. I said, no, come on, that doesn't count. Yeah. So we figured it out. It would be about 12 days if you were to spend $1 million at $1 a second. But if you were to spend $1 billion at that same rate, Brandon, it would be over 30 years before you could spend it,
Wow.
And that's how, it has changed. And we tend to forget all of that. Where does the money come from? It comes from the taxpayer.
Exactly.
And we can't afford that kind of debt.
Exactly. We absolutely cannot afford the debt, and it's a challenge that we have. And by the way, if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Clearwater Mayor Gregg Cretekos on the phone here and calling in. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing the mayor over the years with our show, the Consumer Quarterback Show here. And yeah, so we've, good time switching gears, positive stuff. We got spring break coming up, spring training, baseball right around the corner.
Yeah, funny that you bring up. Well, first, let me clarify. Local governments have to balance their budgets, so we don't have that kind of debt here in Clearwater. Tampa doesn't have that kind of debt. St. Pete doesn't have that kind of debt. No city can do that. But yes, in fact, the Philly van, all of their equipment and stuff is arriving on Sunday. I'm going to be at Spectrum Field to welcome the van and help unload it with some of the guys who work for the Phillies and the Threshers. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully have another great year of spring training, not only here in Clearwater, but also throughout the state. Dunedin is going to be opening up its new stadium for the renovated stadium for the Blue Jays. spring training is so important to us here in Pinellas County, and of course we have the Yankees over in Tampa, so it's great to be able to see the players in a little more relaxed atmosphere. They kid around with the fans, and I remember as a kid going to Al Lang Field in St. Petersburg and seeing the Yankees and the Cardinals because they used to train there many years ago when I was a kid.
Very cool. Yeah, a lot of time. I grew up in the South Florida area, Fort Myers. So down there we had the Red Sox, I think it was back in the day, and Kansas City Chiefs down south.
Yeah.
Baseball coming back around. Wow, it's that time of year already. And let's talk about as well in the past. We had Mayor Buckhorn on the show one time, and I think I had you either calling in or in studio.
Yeah.
And we talked about how the local mayors work together to promote Tampa Bay as a region.
And we still do. Mayor Buckhorn, Mayor Kreisman, and I go back many years. When Mayor Castor was elected, we have continued the luncheons that we have had. The three of us get together. We've gotten together now twice since Mayor Castor has been elected. We realize that, hey, the area may be called Tampa Bay, but we have to work together to promote each other. Here in Pinellas, we were, I'll be honest with you, we were taken aback a little bit when the Chamber of Commerce over there decided to call itself the Tampa Bay Chamber, and the Economic Development Committee, changed its name to Tampa Bay. Mayor Buckhorn, Mayor Kreisman, and I, and Mayor Castor too. That is not, that's probably not the right thing to do. It doesn't send the right message when we've got these transportation issues and other things that we're trying to overcome.
Right.
So it was a little disappointing that they would do that the way they did it. In fact, we were joking with Mayor Kreisman and Mayor Castor that we'll just solve this problem and rename the bay Clearwater Bay, and and then no one will it won't have the same taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah. Oh man, that's interesting. Well, we're coming into our first break here, but if you would hang on with us, I wanted to ask you some more questions.
Yes, sir.
And maybe we can address some of those challenges that you see in Tampa Bay here, and address, talk about your legacy as well, and some of the stuff that you've done over your years, and so if you could hang on with us, we'll be right back after the short break. Mayor George Cretekos on the Consumer Quarterback Show as well. Coming up, we got Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, here in studio. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this short break.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Tanzania Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember it. Ask it to me about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your you're super connected. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to...
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. We've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
You're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Big shout out to Taps Restaurant here in Tampa Bay. The International Plaza on Bay Street is our official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Huge shout out to our restaurant partner. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance, very friendly staff over at Taps Restaurant at the International Plaza. I love going to visit them and having excellent food. They got great salads, burgers, all types of bowls. Really good food there at Taps Restaurant, Bar, and Lounge. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And 861 Mandalay Avenue on Clearwater Beach is one of our hot property listings of the day. 861 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, and it's got a gorgeous patio area, updated kitchen, and you're literally 200 steps from the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of North Clearwater Beach. Check out 861 Mandalay Avenue, and we would love to show it to you as well. All of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, in studio today, we got Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. More coming up from Gregg here soon. And on the phone, we have Mayor George Cretekos of Clearwater. And we wanted to talk more about things happening locally here in Tampa Bay. Mr. Mayor, wanted to ask you, what do you see as some of our key challenges here in Tampa Bay and maybe how we might be able to overcome them?
Well, Brendan, we discussed a little of that earlier, and that's just making sure that we continue to go down this path that Mayor Kreisman and Mayor Buckhorn and I were working on, and now Mayor Castor, trying to bring the region together to identify, problems that we have and get the solutions. Obviously, transportation is just so important to us, especially this time of year when we have so many snowbirds in town. Love having them here, but they do cause some traffic problems. We just have to, adjust and learn to be patient and work through that and try to come up with solutions and maybe even change our mindset. Here in Florida, we're just used to getting into our automobile, and that's not the way it is in other parts of the country, and especially in other parts of the world. People use public transportation and look forward to having that option. Right. So we need to try to figure out how we can get the public to embrace that so that we can start using it. And also, education is so important that we continue to see the growth of USF, our own over here at St. Petersburg College, to make sure that our youth have that opportunity, but also give them the options. And we're real proud of our school system here in Pinellas that has come up with some alternative programs in technical education, so that, hey, you don't have to go to college to become an electrician, or you don't have to go to college to become a chef, and give students that opportunity and let them know that that's okay, and they are as important to the economy and to the nature of this area as anybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a big one. My uncle was on the school board up in Tampa, Joe Catano, back in the day. And that was a big thing he was talking about, pushing the trades and the limitations that you see. And then, of course, with all the booming growth that we have, Diane Vance is our mortgage partner on the show, Fairway Independent Mortgage. She mentioned yesterday's show that we just surpassed Texas as the number one state where people are moving to. So I think that's going to pose even more problems in terms of transportation, as you mentioned, but also I kind of worry about our water supply, our natural resources, and the propensity for larger sinkholes and things of that nature to maybe start opening up if that happens.
We have had now for about a year a sustainability coordinator, and it's amazing some things that come to mind that we can do very easily without disrupting our lifestyle in terms of recycling, using less energy, being more efficient. We were at a conference with the other mayors that the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council had put together on sustainability. And, we were talking about recycling and how everybody loves to recycle their pizza boxes, but you're not supposed to recycle pizza boxes, because it's contaminated with the food stains. Everybody thinks of recycling the plastic bags that they get from the grocery store, but plastic bags, and listen to Brandon, I just learned this the other day. You shred your papers, right? So that your documents, and you put that in the recycle bin. But that doesn't work. Shredded paper in the recycle bin clogs the machines and causes bigger problems. So we just need to educate the people in proper use of recycling and being good stewards of the environment, so that you hear about the sea level rise and climate change, and we know it's occurring, but there's certain things that we can do that not only will postpone it, but also be better for each one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And when you talk about, by the way, if you just joined us, we're talking with Mayor Gregg Cretekos of Clearwater, the Clearwater Mayor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And solar is another big piece of that equation as well.
Yes. We're looking here in Clearwater. We're checking to see when we do a new building or whatever, whether solar would be a viable option. There's still some debate, on a large scale, whether or not it is more efficient, because like today here in Clearwater, it's sort of cloudy, and interestingly, someone had told me a while back that we really aren't the best for like wind power or solar power because it's not as dependable as in some other areas. But the technology, we need to continue that research to make to try to come up with a product that will be renewable and cause less of an impact on the overall environment.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I see that. And investment opportunities happening all over the Tampa Bay area. Of course, we talk a lot about real estate. As you know, I own the Platinum MVP team. My wife and I own and operate a top real estate team in the area. What are you seeing on the real estate front?
Unfortunately, prices keep going. No, I should say unfortunately. Everybody likes to see prices going up, but the housing, that becomes a problem for affordable housing becomes difficult for our service employees, especially in the hotel industry and the tourist industry, and even our teachers and our police and firefighters. A lot of them can't afford some of these prices, and they live further and further away from the core Tampa Bay area of Hillsborough and Pinellas. And we need to we need to help them, and we've been doing that here in Clearwater. And we partner with, for example, Habitat for Humanity to provide that option. We have several developers here who are in the process of building affordable as opposed to market rate. And when you see some of these apartment buildings that have gone up, they're not the public housing that each of us has in mind from the 60s.
Right.
These new buildings that are going up, and the people are maintaining them. I'm very proud of being able to drive down Garden Avenue, for example, here in Clearwater, where Habitat for Humanity has built like 10 homes, and you go by them here a year later, and they have their American flags flying out. They get decorated for Christmas, and it's a neat little neighborhood community of residents who care about each other. And that's what all this is about.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Well, thank you so much. We're running out of time here, Mayor George Cretekos. We appreciate it, all that you've done for the area and your dedication. And I know you've done things as well with delivering organs through some of the programs in the hospitals as well.
In fact, I just got back from a courier trip for the bone marrow transplant program a week and a half ago, 10 days ago.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon.
My pleasure. Great.
Y'all take care.
Great day. Have a great day.
Thank you,
All right.
sir.
We got Gregg Bowman coming up here, AC guy of Tampa Bay. When we come back, also our feel-good story of the day. Minnesota will pay homeowners to replace lawns with bee-friendly wildflowers and clover. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Kansas Star.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember
Ask Anthony about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as sisters connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. It was great catching up with the mayor, George Cretekos. He was on some of my first shows when I started the show back almost 7 years ago now. So it was interesting content, to hear the updates from him over the years. It's been pretty cool, having Mayor George Cretekos on the show. We got Gregg Bowman in the house as well, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. We're going to talk about indoor air quality here coming up. I want to give a shout out to Brothers Easy Moving. The official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They do a great job whether you're planning a local or long-distance move. Reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We work a lot with Brothers Easy Moving, and they are a first-class organization. They do a great job with their moves. And want to let you know about a couple of hot property listings that we've got here in Tampa Bay. We've got 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. This is a gorgeous property, and it has a backyard that has large enough room for a pool. You could put a pool in there. The walkability is awesome in this area as well. You could literally walk to the waterways and take in the beautiful waters of Tarpon Springs there, or walk to dinner, enjoy dinner right there just around the corner. 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. Hot real estate property listing. Compliments of the Platinum MVP team. We have 9200 Gun Highway in Odessa as well. This is vacant land that's available. I've got a lot of vacant land listings. If you are a buyer looking to build, whether residential or commercial, we've got some great opportunities for you. 9200 Gun Highway in Odessa, 2.39 acres in Odessa, and it's right there at a very popular intersection of Racetrack Road and Gun Highway. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. All right, Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, back in studio, longtime friend of the program, and again, another one of our partners that I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They do a great job, and it's always a pleasure, working with you guys and having you on the show as a contributor.
Oh, thanks, Brandon. We appreciate that. We definitely are striving to be the go-to resource in the Tampa Bay market for people with anything related to air conditioning. So.
Absolutely, and 100%, batting 1,000% here on the show. Everybody that's called in or that we've referred to you, nothing but positive feedback, and you guys have a great team over there.
Yeah, we're real proud of our team. Part of our mission statement is that we serve our Tampa Bay family with integrity and honor, and we emphasize that word family. We like to treat our team members as family, but also our clients as family, and doing the way we would treat our own family and everything that we do. So.
Nice. Yeah, I like that as well. I talk when I'm on listing appointments. That's what I say. It's especially sometimes people they don't understand the market, and they just say, "Oh, I'm going to price it high and see if let them come down." Well, that's the wrong way to go about it. I want to treat you like I would my mother, my grandmother. I want you to do the right thing, and let's price it properly so we have less days in the market, the higher sales price.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That definitely. I'm sure. I'm not an expert in real estate, but I think just as a consumer that would make sense.
Yeah. You got studies that show. You can break down anything now with numbers and studies. So if you look at that. But yeah, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about the indoor air quality. I think that's one of the key things because again, we don't see it. It's there. We're breathing it right now. We're breathing oxygen. We're bringing in microparticles and particulates into our system.
Exactly.
A respiratory system.
Right.
But it's out of sight, out of mind type of deal.
It definitely is. Yeah. You mentioned we're breathing it in. I had somebody that told me a long time ago that equated using good filters in your air conditioning system with the fact that whatever your air conditioning system filter is not getting your lungs, there's the second filter. So it might be a little strong, but it does equate to that your air conditioner can do a lot for maintaining indoor air quality in the home. We don't often think of it that way. We think of it as providing heating or cooling, but because it's constantly moving air through the home, it can be be used to filter that air and clean that air and make sure that the air in the home is clean.
Yeah, exactly. And the example you gave earlier about the lady that had mold in the system and that ended up in her bloodstream.
Yeah, it took well over a year. Actually, after talking about that instance on the show, it brought out somebody else approached me about it, that they had a similar instance, and in their case it took 2 or 3 years till they really got to the bottom of it, but started out just as sickness that they couldn't diagnose or determine where it was coming from, and after long time testing finally figured out that that's what was going on. In the case where we just replaced the duct system with this woman, it was to the point where every time they thought they were addressing it, they thought it was allergies originally, they closed up the house to avoid the allergies, and everything got worse because they were making it worse by containing everything in the house. So yeah, definitely can be some issues with indoor air quality in our homes that we don't think about. I think I talked about it on one of the other shows. We don't, years ago we didn't think about where we would drink water from. We drink it right out of the tap. Today, everybody's got their bottled water today. We're well aware of water quality today. Indoor air quality, I think, is that next thing we got to be thinking about, is the air that we're breathing. And
look at China right now.
That. Very good case. Yeah, that's and a lot of the indoor air quality products that we have will treat those kind of things. Viruses and bacteria in the air can be eliminated with indoor air quality. Controls.
I like that idea of putting that onto your system. You add it, so retro it in. Like, for example, our system is a newer system. They make something that you can add to that.
Correct. Yeah, they actually have air conditioning products on the market today that come with it pre-built in, but most of the products out there are retrofitted to an existing air conditioning system. Either the EPA identifies basically 3 indoor air quality areas. That those are like dust and dirt, pollen, basically things that would be eliminated primarily through filtration. The second indoor air quality area would be bioaerosols. That would be the molds, the mildews, the bacteria, the viruses. And then the third thing is the volatile organic compounds. Those are chemicals in the air, most commonly coming off of, new carpet, new furniture, all those things that smell good. It's actually chemicals that can be causing issues with air quality. But there are products that can address one area or all of those areas, in the home. The key is knowing what the area is and addressing it properly, and not taking a fearful approach to it. We have actually a call that I was dealing with right before coming on the show this morning. We were called in for a second opinion on an indoor air quality situation. Customer was quoted between $2,000 and $3,000 to fix an indoor air quality issue that they were told they had mold in their system. When we arrived and analyzed it, it was a 2-year-old unit. There was no evidence or no sign of it. It was a scare tactic. Those kind of things go on that you got to make sure, and we've talked about that before, you got to know who you're dealing with, that just because somebody is a contractor in air conditioning, or just like because somebody's a realtor in real estate, doesn't mean that they're maybe qualified to be doing it. You got to do your homework and make sure you know who you're dealing with.
It's literally $1,000 mistakes too that you see. Like, we had a friend of ours that shopped 3D solar against some of the others, and then he comes to me another 3 weeks down the road, or maybe longer than that, and says, hey, I need to know, can I talk to your solar people, because that other company that undercut them went out of business. So if they're undercutting, and there's got to be some type of a range where you can say, wow, they're way lower. That's unbelievable. And it's the same thing with real estate. When you have these zero costs, or they claim to have zero fees, and they have limited costs, limited fees, or I'll list your property for this percent. You got to really think deeper into that. Who's going to pay for that? You're not going to get the marketing. You're not going to get the extra exposure.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's those kind of things. There's something hidden. The old adage that nothing comes for free.
Exactly.
Is true. So you got to be careful.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of those adages like that, right? Yeah. We're talking with Gregg Bowman here on the AC. He's the AC guy with Tampa Bay on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Yeah. So you get what you pay for. If you take shortcuts, you're going to see that. But it's sad that there's contractors out there utilizing scare tactics to try to get that next deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is hurting people's awareness of indoor air quality. I think the contracting segment, the air conditioning segment, has done a bad job, particularly with the UV lights, of presenting it as the one thing fixes all to your indoor air quality situation. And there are contractors that have gone out there and said, "Oh, you've got mold, you need a UV light," and that's hurt the premise, because then people get a bad taste in their mouth when they have somebody else come in and say, "Well, there's no evidence of it anywhere," So,
right.
It's a sad situation, basically, that you just got to be careful who you're dealing with,
exactly.
and know who you're dealing with. I talked about it on another show that the Department of Energy released a study last summer, I believe, about they analyzed the installation of air conditioning systems all across the U.S., and they were finding that 90% of those systems had ductwork leakage, 50% of them were overcharged with refrigerant,
wow.
50% of them had airflow issues. Those are situations of not checking who we're dealing with, and the people that are putting it in, even though they may pass the basic tests of being able to do it, are really not qualified to be doing it.
Wow. Yeah, the refrigerant, that's a whole nother issue too, because that's changed, right? There's some changes going on with what you can use.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, January 1st of this year was the first day that refrigerant, the R22 Freon refrigerant, was no longer allowed to be produced or manufactured in the United States. The only refrigerant that we can use anymore is recovered, recycled R22 in the U.S. It can still be used overseas, so there's still black market going on. Where but from a legal standpoint, the only thing you can use now in the U.S. is anything that's been recycled. They're not producing any more new refrigerant, but for years now they've converted over that most equipment today uses different refrigerants. If you have a system that uses the R22 Freon, it's most likely an older system, which if it gets to a point of needing a refrigerant repair, you may then at this point be forced to have to replace or spend significant money in converting it over to different refrigerants.
And that's in an effort to help the ozone?
That's an environmental thing, correct. Yeah, the R22 Freon, which is the original refrigerant, actually probably the second original refrigerant. The original refrigerant was R12 that was used by Willis Carrier in his early inventions of the air conditioning system, and then it was converted to R22 primarily because of the environment, and now R22 has been phased out, and R410A is our current refrigerant, which is also being slated to be phased out to a more environmentally refrigerant, down the road. So it's just been an ongoing process of trying to find a more environmental solution that also does not penalize us on the efficiency side. As we've phased away from each one of those refrigerants, it's been harder and harder to meet continuing efficiency standards that go along with that.
Right.
But yeah, it's creates some challenges as far as
makes sense.
Operating and costs and things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, that's Gregg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got more from Gregg in our lightning round coming up. Our feel-good story of the day. Also, we're going to talk about Macy's to close 125 stores over the next 3 years, slashing 2,000 jobs. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors here in studio. We'll be right back after this short timeout. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com. Ian Beckles here with
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Tanzania Star. The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo!
Ask to me about Florida law.
Yes. to be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, you know, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, giving a big shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard in Treasure Island. The official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the Bilmar Beach Resort on beautiful Treasure Island, Florida, filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. The Bilmar Beach Resort has been one of the most sought-after destinations in the Treasure Island area for many years. So whether you're planning a quick business trip that add a little beachside pleasure or family weekend with long getaways, every guest has full access to a full list of amenities. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and Clyde Smith, the general manager, says it's a 2-beer beach. So it actually takes you 2 beers to walk all the way down to the water. And he says either that or 1 strong margarita. So either way you want to go. Bilmar Beach Resort, Gulf Boulevard, Treasure Island. Longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Support the Bilmar Beach Resort by booking directly online or calling them directly on the phone as well. Don't book at one of those search engine sites. It's better to go direct to Bilmar Beach Resort. Let Clyde Smith know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. 5604 Puritan Road in Tampa. This is a gorgeous real estate opportunity. Can you imagine a waterfront lot in Tampa on a major thoroughfare? So it could be a commercial strip mall. And it's a large lot, over a half an acre, for $114,000. $114,000. 5604 Puritan Road in Tampa. You got waterfront right on the Hillsborough River, and you got room to build a business or a commercial strip mall right up directly on the front of this property, North 56th Street in Tampa. Check it out at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. All right, every day we're going to say something positive here in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so the Minnesota will pay homeowners to replace lawns with bee-friendly wildflowers and clover. So Minnesota homeowners can benefit financially if they start letting their grass go to the bees. The state has set aside $900,000 over one year to assist homeowners by covering much of the cost of converting traditional lawns by planting wildflowers, clover, and native grasses. The goal is to provide, quote, food sources for pollinators of all kind, but will specifically aim at saving the rusty-patched bumblebee, a fat and fuzzy species on the brink of extinction that seems to be making a final stand in these cities in the upper Midwest. The loss of native prairies and forests across the country has made pollinators more dependent on urban and suburban lawn flowers, says James Wolfen, a bee habitat researcher at University of Minnesota. His research has been focused on bee lawns, grassy yards as well, and with their flowers and the Dutch white clover, creeping thyme, self-heal, and so it allows the lawns to self-heal, basically, is what they're doing. So there's a certain species, a rusty patch bumblebee, that is on the brink of extinction. So they're putting these programs into place, $900,000 over a year to assist homeowners by replanting their lawns, basically, and allowing them to cultivate those bumblebees.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, science at its best right there. Let's try to save them. You never know. Yeah. It's always like, well, why should we care about that one species, or why should we care about, well, I guess they say that they could have something in there. It could be a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
Something in their weird genetic code, or you never know, right?
Right. Yeah. Or they one species is dependent on another too. So
the ripple effect.
Yeah. One species goes down, it could affect others. So
that's right.
You never know.
Yeah, that's right. So Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And this was interesting as well. Macy to close 125 stores over the next 3 years, slashing 2,000 jobs. And it's 125 stores that represent 1/5 of its locations across the country. The retailer said that it would be eliminating 9% of its corporate and staff positions 2 days ago. So interesting. Again, it's another example of how the internet comes into play and the natural selection, right?
Right.
The Macy's selling, I guess, their department store type setup.
Yeah. Yeah. It's changing everything. The internet has really done that. Everything has changed since then.
And Thomas brought up a good point too. We were talking about that is probably as well another factor is that they're renting their space. A lot of these malls charge exorbitant rates to have, especially a large space like a department store would have. Mm-hmm. I can imagine what their rent rate is.
Right.
Because it's great because people are going there, they're walking around, they're going to the food court, they're stopping at all the different stores. They might stumble in there and buy some cologne or a shirt or whatever, but that rent's got to be expensive.
Oh yeah,
thousands.
I'm sure. I can't imagine for 100,000 square foot department store what that would.
So the model's changing, man. That's for sure. The model's changing. The internet's changed the game. It's changed the game in terms of marketing as well. So you look at the marketing side and how that's, really changed, throughout how you can really target in on specific demographics, utilizing Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, lots of ways that you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my dad started his own business when I was a kid. And back then Yellow Pages was key.
Yeah.
My kids don't even know what the Yellow Pages are. We have that conversation. They're like, what are the Yellow Pages?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it funny how it's changed over the years?
Yeah.
Newspaper ads and some of that stuff, and especially print. I think the worst one is print, like a magazine that is print magazine and they charge X amount to have a half a page or a quarter page ad. It's like, if I'm on page 57, what are the chances I'm actually even going to be seen, much less the cover,
right.
The cover, the reverse cover, inside cover. But yeah, because there's so much going on with the smartphones now, smartphones in your hand. And then you look at what's coming next is voice. They say, these Alexa, this Google Home, all these different places, they're just going to say, bring me this, order that. I don't know how that's going to play out, if that would actually happen, because I don't want an Alexa in my house. I don't have one of those things. We got enough technology in the house. I don't want someone else to talk to.
Right.
So we got Gregg Bowman here, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. Let's jump into our lightning round. We're going to drop some top tips, nuggets of advice, and words of wisdom.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right, Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom.
Well, I thought with Valentine's Day, just a few days away, oftentimes on the show, I've talked about loving your air conditioner so it can love you back. With the spirit of love, it definitely makes a lot of sense to talk about maintaining your system. Your air conditioner works really hard to keep you cool and comfortable, and if you're using it well, can also maintain your indoor air quality. So giving it some maintenance, giving it some love is definitely key. We have a great program for that called our VIP program. It's $14 a month. We come out twice a year and take care of it for you. You don't have to worry about it. We've actually just upped the value of that. We used to offer a 10% discount on any additional work you might need to have done. We've now upped that to 20% just to make it an even more valuable proposition for us to take care of your system for you. So definitely show your air conditioner some love so it can love you back.
I like that. That's a good one. And today I would talk about self-concept and your self-confidence, how you can build that up. No hesitation. So you want to have to a point where you, especially if you're in sales or business, you want to have no hesitation when it comes to delivering your unique selling proposition. And it comes from raising your self-esteem, raising, the more books that you read, the more podcasts that you listen to, the more that you're bringing in different voices, right? How many voices can you hear from a different business guru or personal development guru? So you got to invest in yourself so you can invest in growing your self-concept and your self-confidence. And also, it's not external. So it doesn't come from the external in a sense of comparing yourself to someone else. What you want to do is make sure that you are, not comparing yourself to others, developing yourself on a daily basis, investing in personal development. And it's so easy to do it now with YouTube. And as we mentioned, the advent of the internet, there's so many ways that you can bring new voices, new information, new strategies, new tactics, and read books, or the old school way. I like the audible side of listening and watching video, but some people prefer just to get an old school book, read it. I can underline it, I can highlight it. Whatever you do is best for you. Utilize it that way and become the person who does the right thing. You want to be congruent. Make sure you're congruent with yourself. And the best yardstick is to do the right thing and develop self-discipline as one of the key factors in that. Self-discipline, the ability to make yourself do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not. Too many people let their feelings get in the way, and they sometimes can help themselves in the wrong direction. So great show. Thanks, Gregg Bowman. Thanks to Mayor George Cretekos of Clearwater for calling in. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.